customs employee stamped the very first inked logo onto her brand-new passport. "Welcome to London, miss." He smiled pleasantly as he handed the documents back to her. "Thank you. Glad to be here. Anything I shouldn't miss while I'm in the city?" It occurred to her then that the tall, handsome man with sun-kissed skin, Indian features, and a delightful British accent was part of the border force, not a tourist guide. But, as always, her tongue had worked faster than her brain. The man leaned forward, lowering his voice to a whisper. "You want to take a hop-on, hop-off tour. It'll stop at every landmark, so you can get off and visit. And, if you're into that sort of thing," he added with a wink, "there's also ghost tours." She beamed, glad she'd asked. Ghost tours. "Thank you, Henry," she said, glancing at his name tag. "You have a good day." "Same to you, miss." He tilted his hat and rearranged his features into a severe expression before calling the next traveler forward. As she only had a backpack, she headed right out of the terminal and took the train from Heathrow to Paddington, in great spirits and ready to immerse herself in the unfamiliar city. Chloe had slept most of the 6-hour flight, which had left at 7 in the evening and arrived at 7 the next morning. What a headache! It was now 1 in the morning back in Louisiana, and if she hadn't crashed, the jet lag would have been 1,000 times worse. She felt a wave of gratitude toward the stranger who'd written the highly detailed correspondence to her. Along with her acceptance letter, the Institute had added a thick envelope with the most useful welcome pack she'd ever seen. Bubbliness oozed from each of the 3 pages of longhand advice written on thick, grained paper by someone named Blair Lawson, who perfumed her letters and sealed them with wax and a bit of lavender. Blair was Chloe's mentor. On the first line of her long message, she informed Chloe that this was her second time mentoring, and that the subject of her first mentee should never, ever be mentioned. And then she merrily launched into what she called the Survival Manual 101. Bullet point 17 said, "Travel. Crash on your way to Europe. As a general rule, I find that if I'm going to the right side of the globe, I need to sleep and bring on the coffee." Chloe hadn't been sure she'd be able to sleep on the plane, but the comfortable business-class seats were better than her bed back home. She owed that, and so much more, to her boss. She never would have been able to pay for the cross-Atlantic travel on such short notice, on top of all her expenses. The school was funded by its alumni and didn't accept tuition fees from students, but still, the dorms and meal plans hadn't been cheap. Charles had made it a non-issue on the very day she received her acceptance letter. "Shell and I are your sponsors. You need something, you let us know. I'll book your tickets to London. From there, one of Shell's contacts will pick you up and take you to the Institute." "Will I have time to see the city?" Chloe had felt pretty selfish the moment the words had crossed her mouth. She owed Charles and Shell enough, and this wasn't a vacation. She was being hidden because her family's mess had blown up in her face. Charles had just shrugged. "For a couple of days, sure. Wear a hat, no pictures on social media, and you're good. I don't think whoever's looking for you will think to check another country quite yet. Shell will give you an address. When you're ready, head there." So now, she had 2 days to enjoy London.